You have been taught a great lie. You believe that money is outside of you, that you must struggle for it, chase it, and plead with it to come. This is not truth. The kingdom of wealth is within you, awaiting only your recognition and your word. What if the very substance of supply is listening to you, waiting to take form through the patterns of your own conscious thought? What if your financial freedom is not a matter of getting, but of realizing? I am going to reveal to you 10 specific sentences. They are not affirmations. They are spiritual principles alive with power. When spoken from the depth of your inner being, they will set in motion a law, the law of infinite flow. You will watch as the universe rearranges itself, aligning circumstances, opportunities, and tangible substance to conform to the truth you have declared. This is not theory. This is demonstration. Your willingness to engage with this practice is the starting point. Therefore, make this listening a sacred act of receiving. Then, enact your commitment by subscribing to this channel, making it a temple of shared consciousness. And below, comment the number 10, not as a digit, but as your symbol of entering into this covenant of endless abundance. The error lies in the very foundation of your perception, the belief that your financial state is dictated by a world of separate figures in a ledger, a job market, or the fluctuations of an economy. These are but shadows on the wall. The substance is not there. The truth, the revolutionary and life-altering truth, is that wealth is first, last, and always an internal spiritual consciousness. It is the living awareness of the omnipresent, omnipotent source of all form, all manifestation, all supply. You do not go out to get it. You learn to let it flow from the center of your own being, where it already resides in full abundance. Consider the simple, profound act of a seed. The mighty oak does not exist in the seed as a tiny, compressed tree. It exists as a pattern of life, a consciousness of oak-ness, imbued with the intelligent principle to become. The acorn does not beg the soil for treeness. It surrenders its own form to express the boundless life already within it. You are that seed. Your true identity is not a person seeking money, but the very consciousness of infinite expression, of limitless idea, of ceaseless flow. The money you seek in all its forms is merely one leaf, one branch of that inner tree of life trying to emerge. When you stand at the bank counter or review your bills, you are not looking at your financial reality. You are looking at the delayed echo of your past inner state of consciousness regarding supply, limitation, and separation. This is where the thrill of true spiritual work begins, for it means your freedom is utterly in your own hands, or rather, in the depth of your own being. You are not at the mercy of anything external. The moment you catch a glimpse of this, your entire relationship with the world of form begins to shift. You will start to see how your previous unconscious thoughts of fear, of not enough, of envy, or of desperate striving have been the architects of the very limitations you chafe against. They were prayers, too, albeit prayers to a God of lack. Every anxious thought about a bill is a powerful declaration of faith in the power of that bill over you. Every moment of resentment at another's success is a denial of the infinite source that can express through them and through you without diminishment. You have been practicing this wrongly all along. Now, let this truth become practical in your kitchen, in your commute, in your office. That feeling of constriction when an unexpected expense arises, pause there. Do not flee from that feeling into more panic or calculation. Go inward beneath the feeling. Ask, what is the truth here? Is God, is infinite spirit in panic? Is the source of all galaxies and springtimes bankrupt before this car repair or this medical bill? The answer comes as a quiet no. That no is the first flicker of a new consciousness. You are not denying the appearance. You are turning your face from the shadow to the light. You are aligning with the substance, not the form. In that moment of alignment, you may feel a strange peace, a detachment from the tyranny of the problem. This peace is not indifference, it is power. It is the fertile ground from which right action, unexpected solutions, and unforeseen supply can grow. Your daily life becomes your laboratory. You will notice how often you affirm lack by saying, I can't afford that, or by mentally calculating scarcity into your future. These are not simple statements. They are creative decrees from the throne of your consciousness. To change your experience, you must first change the ruler on that throne. You must dethrone the belief in a power apart from God, from spirit, from the one infinite source that you are an individualization of. This is not a metaphysical theory for the cloister. This is the most practical financial advice you will ever receive. Your inner conversation is your point of power. When you stand in a store, admiring something beautiful, do you immediately feel the pang of, not for me? That pang is the old consciousness. Replace it silently with the acknowledgement. The beauty I admire is an expression of the same infinite creativity that is my own source. It is not separate from me. I am in communion with it. You are not affirming an object. You are affirming your oneness with the flow of all good. This consciousness of wealth is a feeling of inner fullness, of quiet confidence that the intelligence which formed the universe is fully capable of guiding, providing, and manifesting in your experience. It is the end of jealousy, for you see all expression of good as proof of the abundance available to all. It is the end of frantic pushing, for you understand your role as a beholder and a knower of the truth. Allowing the how and the when to be orchestrated by a wisdom far greater than your own human planning. You begin to act not from desperation, but from inspiration, a nudge to make a call, to write a proposal, to learn a new skill, to offer a kindness without thought of return. These inspired actions are the seeds planted from your new inner state, and they will bear fruit in forms you could not have humanly engineered. Watch for them. This is the demonstration beginning. The recognition of this inner kingdom is the beginning, but it is the word that brings it forth into form. There is a creative power in your speech, a spiritual energy that molds the unformed substance of your experience into tangible reality. This is not about positive thinking or wishful affirmations repeated into a void. That is mere human psychology tapping at the door. This is a sacred, spiritual principle, your conscious word, spoken from a state of inner knowing and alignment with the infinite, is a command to the universe. It is the very activity of God, the Logos expressing as you. When you understand this, you will never again speak idly about your finances, your capabilities, or your future. Every utterance becomes either a prison wall or a doorway. You have felt this power unconsciously, which is why its misuse has caused such pain. How many times have you cemented a limitation by declaring it aloud? I'm terrible with money. Nothing ever works out for me. I'll never get ahead. These were not just complaints. They were creative decrees. You were, in those moments, acting as a creator, using the divine faculty of speech to shape a world of lack and confirmation. The thrill of our work now is to take conscious, deliberate command of that same faculty. We are not acquiring a new power. We are awakening to the power we have always wielded in ignorance and turning it toward the light. Consider the principle of sound, of vibration. A skilled violinist does not create the note from nothing. She draws the bow across the string, setting it into vibration, and that vibration travels through the air, reaching your ear to be interpreted as music. Your spoken word operates on a far more profound level. It is not merely moving air molecules. It is setting the very substance of spirit into a specific pattern of vibration. When your word is spoken from the surface level of human fear or desire, it creates a weak, discordant pattern, one that cannot take lasting or harmonious form. But when your word is spoken from the depth of your being, from that inner quiet, where you know your oneness with the source, it carries the authority of the infinite itself. It is a tone of truth that the universe must obey, for it is in harmony with the fundamental law of being. Let this become practical in your living room, in your car, at your desk. You sit down to pay your bills. The old pattern is to approach this with a sense of dread, of calculation, of depletion. Each check written feels like a loss. But now you pause. You turn within. You remember that the money flowing out is not your source. It is merely one form of the infinite substance circulating through your life. Before you write a single figure, you consciously align. You might sit quietly and declare, not from your lips, but from the very center of your awareness, there is one infinite flow. I am a conscious conduit for this flow. This transaction is part of the divine circulation. Then, as you write the check or click the payment, you do so not with a sense of loss, but with a sense of purpose and trust. You are participating in the flow, not blocking it. You are declaring through your action that the supply is endless. This changes the spiritual vibration of the entire act from one of scarcity to one of faith in ongoing provision. Or perhaps you are about to enter a negotiation for your salary or price a service you offer. The human mind races to comparisons, to what the market will bear to fear of asking for too much or too little. This is the surface level. Go deeper. In the quiet before the meeting, settle into the truth. Your true value is not determined by a market or a boss. It is the irreplaceable expression of the infinite moving as your unique talents and capacities. Your word here is not the number you will eventually say aloud. Your word is the inner knowing you establish first. My worth is divine. I express infinite creativity and intelligence. I am open to the perfect, right and harmonious expression of my value. From this inner decree, the outer words and the specific figure will emerge not from fear, but from a sense of rightness. You may be led to say something you hadn't planned, or the other party may offer a number that surprises you. This is the outer form conforming to the inner spiritual pattern you establish. This creative power of your word extends to your silent conversations as well. That constant mental commentary as you scroll through social media, seeing the success of others. What is its nature? Is it a whispered, "Why not me?" That is a word of separation. Replace it with the silent decree. All good is evidence of the one good. What is true for one is true for all, including me. You are not begging for a crumb from another's table. You are affirming the infinite size of the banquet. When an unexpected bill arrives and the first flash is panic, meet it not with a curse, but with a command from your spiritual center. Stand mentally still and declare, "This appearance of lack has no power. The substance of all supply is present here and now, taking form as perfect solution and seamless provision." You are not talking to the bill. You are speaking to the formless substance behind all form, instructing it with the authority of your Christly understanding. You will find the panic dissolves, not because you've solved the problem humanly, but because you've addressed the cause, not the effect. And from that peace, right action is born. Watch closely. The phone rings with an unexpected opportunity. A forgotten check arrives. A solution presents itself that requires far less than you feared. This is the law in action. Your word has gone forth. It will not return void. It will accomplish that whereunto it is sent. This understanding brings us to the very heart of the creative process, where we must make a critical distinction. The substance from which all form emerges, your financial supply, your opportunities, the very answers you seek, is not a passive material waiting to be shaped by your forceful will. It is intelligent, living, conscious spirit, substance. It is the activity of the infinite itself. To treat it as a blank check you fill out with your desires is to remain in the realm of human witchcraft, of mental manipulation. The true work is to recognize that this supply is already complete, already whole, already pouring forth as infinite idea. Your need is not to create supply, but to become consciously aware of the supply that already is, and to let that awareness form the pattern for its appearance in your life. Think of the ocean. The ocean is. It is vast, limitless, and full of potential. You do not create the water. Your work is not to manufacture a single drop from nothing. Your work is to become a conscious receptacle to shape your consciousness like a specific vessel to receive from that boundless ocean in a form you can use. A cup receives a cupful. A bucket receives a bucketful. But both are drawing from the same inexhaustible source. The limitation is never in the ocean. It is always in the capacity and the consciousness of the vessel. Your anxiety, your fears of lack, your belief in separation from good, these are constrictions, distortions in your vessel. They are like a cup that believes itself to be separate from the ocean and fears it will only ever receive a thimbleful. The substance is forever seeking to fill you, to express as you, but it can only take the form of your conscious acceptance. Now, feel the thrill of this. It means your financial freedom is not a matter of getting, but of receiving. And you learn to receive by becoming consciously one with the flow. This is where your daily life becomes a continuous, living prayer. You are not begging a distant God for money. You are practicing the conscious union with the divine activity that is, at this very moment, your life. When you sit down to work, do you do so from the grinding sense of laboring for a paycheck, of trading hours for dollars? That consciousness shapes a very small, very fragile vessel. Instead, pause. Go within. Acknowledge, this work is not my source. The infinite is my source. I am now placing myself in the stream of that infinite creativity. I am a transparency through which divine intelligence, energy, and ingenuity flow to bless this task and all concerned. You are not working for supply. You are letting supply work through you. The quality of your work shifts. Ideas come more freely. Fatigue lifts. What was a chore becomes a point of communion. And the compensation that follows will be in harmony with the expanded consciousness you brought to the activity. See this principle at work in moments of seeming emptiness. Your bank account looks low. A project falls through. The human view screams, lack. And the old consciousness would tighten in fear, hoarding what little seems to remain. But now you know. The form before you is the echo of a past state of consciousness. To react to the form with fear is to perpetuate the same state, guaranteeing more of the same. This is your moment of spiritual mastery. You look directly at the appearance and you speak to the substance behind it. You might say, quietly, but with authority, I am not deceived by this appearance. I know the truth. The substance of all supply is intact, unimpaired, and fully present here and now. I am one with its endless flow. Then you act from that knowing. You might give a small conscious donation, not because you have excess, but to prove your faith in circulation. You might buy a friend a coffee, not as an expense, but as a deliberate act of affirming infinite flow. You are polishing your vessel. You are removing the constriction of fear. You are acting as if the ocean is real and your cup is within it. This is not denial. It is the deepest form of affirmation. You are affirming cause, not effect. Watch how the intelligence of this substance operates. It is not a blind force. It is the omniscient mind of the universe. When you align with it as substance, you are also aligning with its infinite intelligence. To know the perfect form, your supply should take. You may be praying for $1,000 to meet a need, but the substance, in its wisdom, may dissolve the need entirely, or bring you the exact service required, or open a door to a new opportunity worth far more. Your human mind dictates the form. Your spiritual alignment opens you to the infinite forms the one substance can take. Perhaps you feel an inexplicable urge to learn a new skill, to reach out to an old acquaintance, to volunteer in a certain arena. There is no logical, linear path to money in these actions. Follow the urge anyway. It is the substance, the intelligent ocean, guiding your vessel to where it needs to be filled. The money you seek is only one symbol of this substance. The substance itself is life, joy, intelligence, relationship, harmony. As you seek first the kingdom, the conscious awareness of this substance, all the forms, including the financial forms, are added unto you. They must be. It is a spiritual law. Your demonstration begins not when the check arrives, but the very instant your consciousness turns from the barren appearance to the fertile, invisible, ever-present substance that is the only reality. This brings us to a point of absolute clarity that separates spiritual demonstration from mere wishful thinking. The sentences you are to speak, the inner decrees you are to make, are not positive affirmations. They are not psychological tools to convince a reluctant subconscious mind to behave. They are something far more profound. They are spiritual principles alive and active with the power of the truth they embody. An affirmation is a statement of desire, something you hope will become true. A principle is a statement of eternal, unchanging spiritual fact, something that is already true, regardless of appearance, waiting only for your recognition to become manifest in your experience. When you speak a principle from the depths of your being, you are not trying to create something new. You are aligning your conscious awareness with what God already knows to be true about you. This alignment is where the miracle occurs. Think of the principle of mathematics, say, the law that 2 + 2 = 4. This is true in a palace or a prison, in wealth or in poverty. You do not affirm it, you know it. You rely upon it. If you were locked in a room where everyone believed 2 + 2 = 5, your power would not come from endlessly repeating 4 to yourself in hope. It would come from your unwavering inner knowing of the principle. You would act with the quiet confidence of that knowledge, and eventually that principle would find a way to express itself in your experience, perhaps by revealing a crack in the wall that only a knowing of 4 could unlock. So it is with spiritual principle. The principle of infinite supply is as real as the mathematical one. The principle of your oneness with this supply is as fixed. Speaking these sentences is not begging, it is declaring the nature of your reality from a place of inner authority. You can feel the difference when you do it. An affirmation often has a note of strain, of reaching for something you do not quite possess. It can feel hollow if your outer circumstances scream the opposite. But a principle spoken from your inner sanctuary carries a different vibration entirely. It feels like a release, a relief, a homecoming. It is the sound of truth dispelling illusion. For example, consider a moment of acute financial pressure. The old way might be to frantically repeat, I am abundant. I am abundant, while your heart pounds with fear. That is a battle between a thought and a feeling, and the feeling, being rooted in the senses, often wins. Now try the way of principle. Be still. Go beneath the panic to the quiet place within where the noise of the world fades. Then, from that silence, let the truth emerge as a living word. The infinite substance of God is my immediate and continuous supply. You are not saying this to change God's mind or to manipulate a universe. You are announcing what is eternally so. You are aligning your awareness with the rock of reality rather than the shifting sand of appearance. The fear may not vanish instantly, but it is now exposed as a lie, a shadow with no substance of its own to sustain it. You have withdrawn your faith from it. Now, weave this into the fabric of your ordinary day. You are about to check your bank balance online. The reflex is one of anxiety, of bracing for impact. This is the moment of practice. Before you click, stop your hand. Close your eyes for one breath. In that breath, declare the principle, not as a wish, but as a sword of truth. I and the Father of infinite supply are one. Feel it. Then proceed. You are now looking at the screen not to learn your truth, but to see how this particular number will conform to the truth you have just declared. You have changed your relationship to the form. You are the knower, not the victim. Or you are preparing a proposal for a client, and the temptation is to underprice, to shrink, to fear rejection. Pause. Let the principle rise. My value is the divine expression of infinite worth, and it is irresistibly attractive to its right and perfect manifestation. Write the proposal from that consciousness. The words will be different. The energy will be different. You are not selling, you are offering the evidence of a principle in action. The power lies in this consistent realignment. Each time you speak these sentences as living principles, you are not adding to your spiritual bank account. You are clearing the debris that has blocked your awareness of the infinite account that has always been in your name. You are scraping the rust off the vessel. You are not creating supply. You are becoming transparent to it. When you declare, divine ideas of increase and right action are mine, you are not inventing ideas. You are tuning your mental receiver to the broadcast of infinite mind that is forever transmitting them. When you state, I am a magnet for divine abundance, you are not learning a trick. You are acknowledging the fundamental law of like attracting like at the spiritual level. Your conscious oneness with abundance naturally draws its forms to you. This practice, then, is the sacred technology of remembering. Each sentence is a key that unlocks a chamber of your own divine inheritance. Do not speak them to get results. Speak them until they speak you, until your every thought and action becomes a natural, effortless expression of the boundless spiritual wealth that you, in truth, already are. So we arrive at the great activator, the law that turns principle into palpable experience. This consistent alignment of consciousness, this speaking of truth until it speaks you, sets in motion a spiritual force as reliable as gravity and as precise as mathematics. It is the law of infinite flow. Understand this: the universe is not static. It is a dynamic, outpouring expression of the one life. There is no stagnation in spirit, only perpetual motion, endless giving and receiving. Your financial experience, when it feels blocked, scarce, or difficult, is a human sense of this divine activity being obstructed, not out there in the world, but within your own consciousness. When you clear the inner channels through the recognition of truth, you are not manipulating a reluctant universe. You are simply removing the dams you have built in the river of your own awareness. The water, the infinite substance, has always been flowing. You are now allowing it to reach the parched places of your life. This law operates independently of human reason. It does not need you to figure out the how. In fact, your human planning for how it should happen is often the very dam that blocks the flow, because it limits the infinite intelligence to your own small, past-based strategies. The law of flow works through channels of inspiration, synchronicity, and unexpected supply. Your only responsibility is to maintain the alignment of your consciousness, to keep your vessel open, facing the ocean, and then to obey the intuitive impulses that arise. These impulses are the first ripples of the flow entering your experience. They are the law in action. To ignore them is to stand at the well and declare your thirst while refusing to lower the bucket. Feel the thrill of becoming a conscious observer of this law. Your life becomes a detective story where you are searching for the evidence of flow, not lack. Start with the simple, undeniable flow that sustains you this very moment, the breath in your lungs. You did not manufacture it. It is given. The intelligent life force animating your body, you did not create it. It flows. The ideas that come to your mind from nowhere, they flow. Money is simply one form of this same circulating energy. When you stand at the checkout counter, about to pay for groceries, see it not as a loss of money, but as a participation in the flow. You are circulating substance, trusting that as you release it with consciousness, you are keeping the channel open for it to return in new and perhaps greater forms. This is the opposite of hoarding. Hoarding is based on the fear that the flow has stopped. Circulating is the faith that it is eternal. Now, apply this watching in your daily affairs. You have spoken your principles. You have aligned your consciousness. Now, be watchful. This is not a passive waiting. It is an active, expectant attention. You may feel a sudden, gentle nudge to call an old colleague. It makes no linear sense to your financial situation. Call them. In the conversation, a piece of information is shared, a name is mentioned, a forgotten opportunity surfaces. That is the flow. You may be walking through a store, and a particular book on a shelf seems to catch your eye. Buy it. A paragraph in that book gives you the exact idea you needed for your project. That is the flow. You might have an impulse to offer your skill pro bono to a certain cause. The human mind resists. That's not how you get paid. Offer it anyway. From that act, a relationship forms, a reputation is built, and an offer for lucrative work comes from a direction you never marketed to. That is the flow. The law operates through your inspired action. The money does not fall from the sky. It comes through the intelligent, interconnected web of life, moving through people, opportunities, and ideas that are drawn to the vibrational frequency of openness you have established. But you must also watch for the flow in what seems like its opposite. A client leaves. A deal falls apart. The old consciousness wails in loss and lack. The new consciousness, trained in the law, asks a different question. What is this clearing the way for? Often, the flow must remove a form that is too small, too limiting, or not in right alignment to make room for its fuller expression. That closed door is not a denial of supply. It is the intelligent flow protecting you from a lesser good and forcing you to turn toward a greater one. Your trust is tested here. Will you see the closed door as the end of the flow, or as proof of the flow's intelligent, caring activity? Your reaction determines everything. If you respond with fear and contraction, you build a new dam. If you respond with trust, declaring, I thank you for the greater good that is now making its way to me, you keep the channel wide open. Then be doubly watchful. The new opportunity that emerges will often be of a different character, more aligned with your true purpose, and frequently more abundant than what you released. This is the law demonstrating its intelligence. It is not just about quantity. It is about divine right action, about harmony, about placing you in the current where you can both give and receive the most. Your prosperity becomes holistic, touching not just your bank account, but your peace, your relationships, your sense of purpose. You are not chasing money. You are in the flow of life itself, and money, in its right and perfect measure, cannot help but flow to you as one of its natural tributaries. This is the culmination, the point where theory vanishes and lived experience takes its place. Watching the flow is the preparation. Demonstration is the irrefutable evidence appearing in your outer world. This is not a promise of a future reward for good spiritual behavior. It is the immediate and natural consequence of living from the truth of your being. When you consistently dwell in the consciousness of your oneness with infinite supply, when you speak the living principles and act on the intuitive impulses of the flow, your outer world has no choice but to reorganize itself to reflect this inner reality. The forms will come, the unexpected checks, the perfect opportunities, the creative ideas that generate income, the solutions that dissolve expenses, not as miraculous exceptions, but as the normal, lawful operation of a spiritual universe. Your life becomes the demonstration. You are not hoping for proof. You are living as proof. This demonstration is rarely a thunderclap that rearranges everything in an instant, though it can be. More often, it is a gentle, cumulative unfolding like the dawn. At first, You notice small shifts in the texture of your day. A sense of struggle begins to lift from ordinary tasks. You find an easier, less expensive way to accomplish something you had budgeted for with strain. A forgotten debt is repaid to you. A chance conversation leads to a helpful connection. These are not coincidences. They are the first visible ripples of the new vibration you are holding. Do not discount them as too small. They are the universe speaking your language, showing you it has heard your inner declaration. Each one is a brick in the foundation of your new financial reality, a reality being built from the inside out. Your faith grows not from blind belief, but from this accumulating evidence. You are not believing in order to see. You are seeing because you have begun to know. Now, take this awareness into the very citadel of the old world, the monthly budget, the investment statement, the negotiation for a raise. Walk into these arenas not as a beggar hoping for a scrap, but as a conscious creator, a bearer of spiritual truth. Your inner work has changed your vibrational signature. People will feel it, even if they do not understand it. There is a quiet authority that replaces desperation, a clarity that replaces pleading. When you discuss money from this space, you are not discussing a limited resource to be divided. You are discussing the human form of a divine idea. The other party, the boss, the client, the banker, may respond in ways that surprise you. They may become more agreeable, more generous, more open. This is not your personal manipulation. It is the law of harmony in action. Your consciousness of oneness and abundance cannot help but evoke a reflection of that same quality in your environment, even from others. You are literally changing the financial field around you. The most profound demonstration, however, may not look like money at all at first. It may look like peace. It may look like the dissolution of a chronic anxiety that once gnawed at your stomach. It may look like a sudden insight that solves a persistent problem, thereby saving you thousands. It may look like a repaired relationship that leads to a new business partnership. Remember, the substance is infinite and intelligent. Its primary goal is to express as your wholeness, your harmony, your freedom. Money is one instrument in that orchestra. As you allow the conductor, your Christ consciousness, to lead, the instruments will come in at the right time, in the right way, to create a symphony of supply. Your old consciousness listened only for the drum of cash. Your new consciousness learns to appreciate the entire composition, the strings of health, the woodwinds of right relationship, the brass of inspired purpose. And from this harmony, the drumbeat finds its perfect, unstressed rhythm. Your daily practice now becomes one of grateful recognition. Every evidence of flow, no matter how small, is acknowledged not as a personal triumph, but as a confirmation of spiritual law. You are not building a relationship with a capricious God who must be thanked, so he will give more. You are bearing witness to the truth. This witnessing strengthens the demonstration. When the larger forms appear, the significant contract, the inheritance you didn't expect, the investment that matures perfectly, meet them with the same quiet knowing. Do not fall into the trap of the old consciousness shouting, "At last! Now I have it." That is seeing the form as the source and separating yourself from the flow. Instead, see it as you saw the small things, as a natural, lawful expression of the infinite substance taking form. This keeps you in the flow, not as a temporary visitor who got lucky, but as a permanent resident in the kingdom of limitless good. The demonstration is not the single event, it is the continuous, unfolding reality of a life lived from the unshakable understanding that you are one with the source of all, and that this oneness expresses itself intelligently, perfectly, and abundantly as every aspect of your experience, leaving no need unmet, no right desire unfulfilled, as you learn to desire in alignment with the whole.